Kevin, it's a pleasure to meet you. Loki season one is my favorite show from Disney Plus so far, and I've seen the first four episodes of Loki season two, and somehow you guys are living up to the hype, if not already outdoing yourselves. So thank you for talking with me about it.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Of course, I would like to actually start at the beginning of season two. Like looking back at season one, what did you and the team at Marvel Studios learn from that first season that you wanted to take and apply to season two?
I think it's a rhythm of production. These things, streaming shoots very fast. It shoots much quicker than our features do. And something that we did in season one that was started as necessity, but became this like great building point for us was building sets, making the world like 360 builds because our cast could go in there. They knew what they were kind of the world that they were getting into. And I think being able to do that, build a tangible world, you're getting it in camera, you're able to shoot fast. I think that actors really love it and you get great performances out of them. And it just became a thing of we wanted to prioritize the look of this show, production design wise, costume design, cinematography. And it's a thing that you do have to prioritize because these are craftsmen and artists, but they can only do so much. And if you're not giving them the time and the resources, they can't do it. So I think that was something we just knew people liked the world we were building and it let us do it for season two.
That Lamentis set in season one looked insane. What would you say was probably the biggest, most immersive set in season two?
Uh, I mean, we built a whole new floor, which is everything on OB's level, and the temporal core. But I do think it's probably F3. I mean, trying to recreate the Chicago World's Fair, the 1893 World's Fair was maybe bigger than Lamentis. I think it was bigger than Lamentis.
There had to be a little bit of a consideration going to the World's Fair, being like, all right, we got to get Walt Disney worked into this, or is that a little too meta? Because didn't he take the ride that's at Epcot now to the
Yes,
World's Fair?
yes. It was not a conversation. It probably for a show that does get very meta. I think that might have been a bridge too far.
Might cross a couple suspend your belief lines. Kate Herron did such a fantastic job on season one of Loki. Now with season two, you have Moon Knight directors Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson stepping in. I'd love to hear about what you all at Marvel Studios saw from Moon Knight. You saw from these two guys, and you said we want them to do season two. What did they bring to the table?
So yeah, Moon Knight, they were awesome on. I had met with Justin and Aaron before Loki season one, like after the Endless. Generally, really liked them. Loki was kind of already getting moving. Kate was on board. We were loving what she was doing, and it was one of those. Oh, gotta keep those guys in mind for something else. And I kind of had recommended them to another executive here who had met them about something else before Moon Knight. That didn't totally come together because of some other things. Then they went on the Moon Knight, and it was like this really kind of full circle path of they were doing additional photography on Moon Knight. We had a number of scripts already ready to go on Loki, and kind of sent Kevin Feige to go recruit them off the set of Moon Knight to be like, hey, see if they want to come in and meet with Tom and I about Loki season two. And so it was, I think they'd be great to talk to when you can get them at some point. But I think there was some trepidation of, do we want to come into a season two? But they took the meeting, thankfully, with Tom and I, and we were able to convince them why we thought they'd be great for it. But we wanted them to change it up a little bit. Like there was no point in doing the same thing again.
Absolutely. I mean, they've done a bang up job from what I've seen so far. They were tasked, and you were tasked, and everybody creatively involved with Loki season two and one is tasked with time travel. Time travel has been part of the MCU since Doctor Strange, Avengers Endgame. Loki season one really brought it into the play. Time travel rules. If you don't think about them enough, nothing will make sense. If you think about them a little too much, oh no, I've gone cross-eyed. How did you guys approach developing rules and setting them in place for Loki season two?
Like what you just said is like 100% was our Bible from season one on. Simplicity. Like I think there is, how can you condense the essential information into a simplistic sentence or two so people go, oh, okay, I kind of get this. And you can, because Miss Minutes, all of these other tools that we had, a line and a visual really could get us pretty far so people conceptually get it. A lot of times in the script, we would start from a place of really spelling it out, and then it became a game of calling back and condensing, because exactly that. If you throw too much information, it becomes homework and maybe becomes more confusing and maybe plants flags that break some rules for you. So simplicity. And we always said intrigue versus confusion. If you're confused, it's not working. If you're intrigued, it's good if it pays off.
When you're talking about Loki and season 1, season 2, the story you're telling, how grand this is in the scope of the MCU, do you see this character and his story and the characters as kind of the consistent through line through the multiverse saga as a whole?
It's funny, like he's become that. And I mean, I think I remember Waldron and I would talk a lot about in season 1, or just kind of acknowledge in season 1, so much of the first 2-3 phases of Marvel storytelling do track back through Loki and the choices he made. Even Thanos coming to Earth is a ramification of Loki not doing his job in Avengers. So like all of that plays out. And as we were developing this, we were kind of like, in a broad sense, it would be really cool if the coming phases also ran through Loki and his choices, but in a different, unexpected way. Those are kind of like broad discussions, but we always are focusing in on just what we're doing and try not to get too bogged down by the bigger picture. Because if we tell our story really well, the rest of the MCU will embrace it.
So Tom Hiddleston is the catalyst for Secret Wars, confirmed. Thank you very much.
Sylvie has a lot of responsibility in that, by the way. With what she's
that's that. I can't even imagine how we're going to get there. It's so close yet so far. One of the big projects coming up that it seems to be very multiversally influenced is Deadpool 3. So I have to ask, can we expect anything from Loki to tie to that, or any specific upcoming multiverse saga projects in really like tangible ways?
No, I mean, I think everything we are doing here certainly lays the groundwork for fertile storytelling elsewhere. I can say from everyone on the Loki team, we are hopeful and excited about the possibility of the TVA being able to continue to tell stories at the TVA. I always kind of think of them as our time-based multiversal version of S.H.I.E.L.D., that it's like we can use them in so many places and tell so many cool stories.
As the only show to get a season 2 with Disney Plus so far from Marvel, are we already thinking about season 3? Say yes.
We are certainly thinking about how we can continue to tell TVA and Loki-based stories. But what I would say is season 1 and season 2 were always conceived as like 2 chapters of the same book. We want to close this book, and I think there's a lot more books on the shelf, though.
Of course, I just asked you about the future. I'll ask you about what do you think from the past? Going into Loki season 2, which projects would you say are most integral for a viewer to go watch, brush up on, to get the best experience watching these upcoming 6 episodes?
I truly mean this. I think the only prerequisite for an audience to enjoy Loki season 2 is Loki season 1. We always wanted to make this as an entry point for maybe people that were too intimidated to where to jump in. But I do think anything from Loki's past, any of those Thor movies, obviously Avengers, all of those things are going to be incredibly additive. And then if you like the idea of this time travel and multiverse and all of this, the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man, they're all additive. None of those are essential to being able to enjoy this season.
Awesome. Kevin, thank you so much for the time. I hope to talk to you again soon, and good luck and enjoy the ride here with Loki season 2, man.
Thank you so much. Very, very kind. Thank you.